if you're the kind of person who has that already, where you are in a place in your life, either it's in your family or your home or your job or your community, where you are happy and you are safe and you are seen, that is a real blessing. Hey y'all, it's Chimdi. So I want to talk about the truth that I learned about why I'm here in Maryland, because I just watched today's YouTube video. I'm recording this about a week in advance. In the video that came out today, I talk about how I'm back in Maryland because I needed to know how to receive love. I needed to know how to not pay rent, you know? And I think that's true, and I think there's even a deeper level of truth with the not paying rent. But I want to talk about, I really came to a greater understanding of why I'm here in Maryland, and it came through a very weepy process, and it was very emotional, but it was the kind of process where, I don't know if you're familiar with healing trauma and process work, but what happens, and it's so freaking cool, and it's very, like, you literally can't explain it unless you've experienced it, but we're essentially walking around, and this is a Thomas Hubel metaphor. Listen, assume that 50% of the knowledge I'm sharing is coming from Thomas Hubel, all right? Because I'm tired of saying his name. Assume that most of it is Thomas Hubel. Listen to his podcast, watch his YouTube videos, get your life, heal your trauma, weep every day. I highly recommend it. But he gave this metaphor when it came to healing trauma of like, we are in a house. Every time we heal something, it's like a room in our house. Like we are able to open the door and realize this room has been here the entire time. And we don't know how many rooms are sitting in our house with doors locked that we don't even see. And we don't know until it is time for us to go and open that door and walk inside. And all the gifts that are sitting in that room are ready to be experienced by us. I remember when I first heard that, it freaked me the F out. It freaked me out. I was like, so I'm just walking around with mountains of trauma, and everyone can see it and everyone knows, and I don't know, and I'm just doing my best. Like it overwhelmed me because I was approaching it from a place of like fear of what I don't know and fear of how much I'm like missing out on, just all lack and scarcity, all the normal stuff. But then I had this experience around Maryland and I actually saw the brilliance and the beauty and the felt like experience in your body of what it's like when something that's previously been frozen comes back online. And if you saw the video I made about loving Taylor Swift now, I kind of alluded to it in there as well, where it's like there's all these things that are right in front of you, like right in your periphery, right, like it's right here. You just can't see it. You just aren't ready to experience it. So it might as well be invisible. And that's how it's been living here in Maryland. Like to the point where, because I'm living with my sister, I'm not paying rent. My name is not on a lease. I really wanted to live in New York. I don't miss New York the way I used to, but I still had these ideas that said LA, New York, London, Paris. These are the places to be. Like this is where life happens. And if you're anywhere else, you're a loser and you're not cool and your dreams don't matter and you're not really successful. You can't be successful if you don't live in one of these major cities. And I recognized that was limiting belief, but I was still attached to it. Like I didn't have enough detachment to be able to see for real that it wasn't true. I was like, I know that sounds crazy, but I still think it's true. Like if I'm being honest, I still thought it was true. So I do this really beautiful meditation. What becomes apparent to me is that I associate Maryland, like Maryland is not just a state, you know, it's not just a region in America, in the United States of America for me. It represents a lot. And very specifically, it represents not being able to live your hopes and your dreams. So I'm a child of immigrant parents. My parents immigrated to America in like the 80s or something. I was born in Maryland. The way I contextualize my childhood and my parents, even now, I only can kind of intellectually understand what a blessing it is to have children, what a blessing it is to have family. I'm understanding it more and more as I like experience it. But as a kid, you know, you have very particular ideas of what success looks like. I felt like a sort of overwhelm because there was poverty, there were all these other things, right? Like I felt this feeling of this life is really, really hard. My parents are really going through it. Like they're like, I'm one of 6 kids. Like that's a lot of kids to feed, a lot of mouths to feed, you know? Like I really felt in my body, in my nervous system, the stress and the pressure and the fear and the anxiety of being in a new country, raising all these kids, maybe not having the community necessarily, trying to do it all by yourself and not being able to live your creative dreams. That was huge for me too, like unpacking and detaching some of the trauma of my own experience from my motivations to be a creative coach. So I help other creatives show up authentically, show up consistently so that they can grow their own audience, get really cool opportunities, get clients if that's what their business is. And for a while, a part of the motivation was because I saw what it's like when you don't feel like you have those same freedoms, that same ability to really go after your dreams in that way, because you have these other things that are really important to you, right? And like I said, I didn't understand that like kids are not a burden. Kids are a blessing. Even 6 of them, not a burden, they are a blessing. And so maybe I, as a kid, was like, oh no, it's so hard for my parents. But in reality, I think my parents would say like, no, we are really happy. Especially you, Chimney. We love that you're here and that you are a baby. And I love that for them. I love that my parents can say that I am their child. Like, what a blessing for everyone involved. But yeah, when I thought of Maryland, I thought of the sadness, like a very deep grief and a very deep fear and overwhelm of what can happen when you aren't able to pursue your dreams. The intensity of that feeling in my body, and this is the nature of trauma. I think Gabor Mate has the definition where it's like trauma isn't what happens to you, trauma is what happens in your body in response to what happens to you. And so when things that are really intense happen, or when things that are really intense happen and you have to, like, you can't handle it, one of the reactions is to leave your body, is to disassociate, is to be floating up here somewhere. One of the like keys of knowing when someone's really gone through something is if they are just talking. Like if they like are like they just, I'm sure everyone has met someone like that where it's just like, and that's because the energy is not grounded in their body. When the energy settles in, it hits something that's too much, and so the energy pops right up into their head, and then they just, and it's that kind of like context or understanding, and I'm so grateful to the Timeless Wisdom training because it's helped me understand like people have quirks and they have like things they do and they have ways of being, and sometimes we're like, why is this person like that? Or like maybe it annoys you or something. When you understand that there is a very, very, very wise reason why people are showing up the way they are showing up. And if what I've learned for myself is like, the more I can't understand why someone is acting the way they're acting, the more I wouldn't be able to fathom the intensity of what they've gone through and of what they've survived, and the ways their behaviors now are really just a mirror, a echo, a shadow, a symptom of what they had to do to survive things that are beyond my understanding. And it makes me very, very humble. I'm like, you know what? Maybe just be blessed that you can't relate to what they're going through right now. So just want to share that with y'all because that's something that's really helped me. But I was able to process when I was sort of in my meditation and when I was weeping through it, I was able to process how hard it was for me as a little kid to be in that energy, because obviously that's a lot for a kid. There was a level, I feel myself getting emotional, and normally, I think I've got a couple videos on here where I weep, and in one, it's me weeping as a joke, but it wasn't a joke. I was crying for real about something that was sad, but then I was like, I'm gonna turn this into a fun reel. But I do feel myself getting emotional as I talk about this. Let's see if we can generate some real tears for YouTube. I'm kind of talking to leave the, I'm talking to leave the energy of it because I don't really want to be out here weeping. But young me was very overwhelmed by the experience. As a result, I really left my body a lot. I didn't cry a lot as a kid. I feel like all this weeping I'm doing is because I'm catching up on all the weeping I didn't do as a kid, and there wasn't really a lot of co-regulation. It wasn't like I could feel a deep fear and then go to someone and say, I'm so scared, like, can you be with me? And like, whatever. That wasn't a possibility, right? So I had to learn, okay, I'm gonna hold this, and I'm gonna hold this until I can have the resources to handle it, right? And that's what I'm doing now, and I'm very proud of myself. Part of me is like, this is making such good content, Chimney. They love your tears. And so a lot of my energy was spent on, okay, I'm gonna get out of this. I'm gonna survive this. I don't know if I thought this consciously, but that was what was happening, because that's what it means to be committed to life, is we keep surviving. And so for as long as I could remember, I've been thinking about leaving Maryland. Or not even leaving Maryland, honestly, because I wanted to live in Maryland. It was leaving the home environment because I couldn't handle it. I got good grades because I'm smart. and I love to learn. But I also knew, given the poverty, that I needed a scholarship. So I worked really, really hard. I was a valedictorian of my high school, and I got a full scholarship to the University of Maryland, College Park, go Terps. And I lived on campus all 4 years. You know, like I knew that I needed to have a space of my own. I needed like room, right? I actually had a semester where it was after I graduated and I was in grad school. I had like a semester. I think it was truly like a couple of months where I lived at home, and I was like, I'll pay rent. Let me go. And then I haven't lived home since. The energy in my external world of like, oh, I need to leave and be somewhere else so that I can be okay, was just mirroring what was happening in my inner world, which was like, oh, I can't be here in my body, and I can't handle what's going on in here because this is too much. In doing the process and doing the meditation, I realized like when I consider that I don't have to go anywhere, that I can be here. I feel like I'm doing a monologue. But I can be here in every level, in every way that word means that. That's such a level of blessing that I don't know how many people, if you're the kind of person who has that already, where you are in a place in your life, either it's in your family or your home or your job or your community, where you are happy and you are safe and you are seen, that is a real blessing. And a lot of people don't have that. And oh my God, part of me is like, another part of me is like, they're gonna love these tears, Chimney, keep them coming. So to think that I don't have to fly to New York or go to Lisbon, I don't have to do a remote year trip, I don't gotta go to LA again, though I do love LA and I do plan to go back just to visit this summer, you know, but I don't have to. There's nowhere else that I have to go to feel safe and to have beautiful friendships and to have, you know, a man and to get to go to cool parties and to get to experience dope art and culture. Like, I don't have to leave Maryland. I don't have to leave where I am. I don't have to leave my body to have fun and be safe and be seen and be held and be loved. I can be right here in this moment and experience all of that. Like, that's it's the enormity of that possibility and the hope of it. And I think what it really was for me is to realize that for so long, I didn't even think that was possible. And I think that's what healing does, is like everything that's frozen, this is something Thomas talks about, there's like a wisdom that's frozen there too. And there's something that we don't realize and something we don't know. And it's only once we heal and release and cry and be with it and all that, do we then get to like, oh, here's the thing. And that learning for me was like, I don't have to go anywhere to be safe and loved. I can do it right here. Like, that's an option. And then young me, normally it's like adult me is the wise one and young me is going through it. In this process, it was the opposite. It was like young me was like, because she knew, and she was frozen in time, and she was waiting on me to come back and go visit her and be like, I'm back. I traveled to 24 countries. I lived in 4 states. I've had 3 different IDs. My passport stamps are, you know, the whole book is full. What was it you were saying about how I don't actually have to go anywhere? And she was like, yeah, exactly that. You are good right where you are. And I feel the difference in my body. Like, that's the thing. You can't really explain. You don't know how you aren't feeling. Like, we only have the range of things we've experienced. But because I've spent so much of my life in this state of, I gotta go, I didn't know what it felt like to be like, oh, wait. Not only can I stay, but I'm excited to stay. And that is really, really new. And it feels different in my body, which is so cool. Which is also, I guess, my way of saying, like, if you see me in Maryland, I'm not gonna say what part. I don't want y'all finding me. But if you see me in Maryland, unless you're cool and hot, I can't date fans. It'd be weird. weird. You know too much about my life. I only want to date a man who doesn't know I have a YouTube. I dated this guy and I was like showing him like old photos from my Instagram and he was like, I don't even want to see this. Like, I want to experience you now and like experience this in real time. And I was just like, you get it. You get it. We obviously are not together anymore, so obviously it didn't work out. But I appreciated that element. I appreciated that point of view from him. But yeah, if you're cool and hot, definitely, if you see me in the street, say hello. And if you smell good, maybe try and hug me. Can you imagine inviting strangers to hug you? Do not hug me. Do not put your hands on me. Do not touch me. I will fight you. I will fight you. I won't fight you. But my energy will hopefully communicate that you should definitely stay like 4 to 5 feet away from me. And then if I am like, would you like a hug? Because I do love to hug. Then you'll know to come in close. And yeah, just smell good. I think that's like a great tip in general, is to smell good. But imagine that today will be the day that you'll meet me. And think about how good you'll want to smell. When I pull you close. Okay, I think things are taking a turn. Point is that I was able to weep for you all. I hope you loved it. You're welcome. Me being vulnerable on the internet. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. If you are not happy with where you are, we've all been there. I've been there. It sucks. But if you weep for a full year straight, you might get to change that, perhaps. And also if you paid $10,000 to Thomas Hubel, then you might also get to experience that. Worth every penny, highly recommend. Also, I don't even have like a referral code for the Timeless Wisdom training. I'm literally just talking about it all of the time because it's just helped me. But you best believe when the program, I think they're gonna start recruiting for the new one like the next year, this fall, and I'm definitely gonna like be like, hey, do y'all have a referral program? Because I've spoken in every single YouTube video for the last 2 years about this program, and for the most part, I've been very loving. So give me a cut. Like, what is this? Pay me. Pay me. We're gonna stop it there at me screaming, pay me. Pay me! Speaking of paying me, I'm a creative coach, and if you want some support showing up consistently, authentically, how I have been, do you see? Do you see how I was all sad and shit for y'all? If you want some support to do what I do and get all the dope experiences, the opportunities, the clients, all the good things that come with being a dope creative person, you can go ahead and follow me on my coaching Instagram, Coaching by Chimdi, and you can also hit the link below and put some time on my calendar and we can do a discovery call. Let me know in the comments, how did you feel about my weeping? Did it touch your heart? Can't believe I did that for y'all, but it's because I love y'all. Where do you live? What's your home address? DM me your home address. Let me know. Can I come visit? Just for fun. I'm not gonna move in. Like I said, I'm happy where I am. But like, can I come visit you? Let me know. We have Patreon Zoom calls and stuff. One of the girls who comes through lives in Portland, and I've always wanted to visit Portland. I think it's Portland and not Seattle. And she like be baking bread and shit, and I'm like, can I come? Like, if I came, like, would you bake me some bread? And she was like, yeah. So let me know in the comments where you live and if I can come visit you and what gifts you'll offer me. This is all normal. This is all normal what I'm saying. This is all appropriate and safe. I love you. Thank you. Thank you, Patreon people, by the way. Thank you, subscribers, for being the absolute sexiest. I'm so grateful that I get to hang out with y'all every week. I love you. Bye.